All right, I call this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. And roll call, Pamela Brown.
Andrew Pickle.
Stacy Wilson.
And I've got Deb Holbrook on Zoom here as recorder. And let's jump in with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first order of business is council appointments and oath of office. So we have three offices open that we've been accepting applications for, and the first office is recorder. We received one application for recorder, and that is Deb Holbrook. And the way that we typically appoint counselors in open positions is by nomination. So I would be looking for a motion to accept Deb Holbrook as recorder going forward.
I'll motion that we accept her, Deb Holbrook.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of accepting Deb Holbrook as City of Shaniko recorder, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye. All right, let the minutes show that Deb will now be City Recorder of Shaniko.
Do you have copies of that?
Yeah. Shaniko. All right, we'll go counselor next. And I've got two applications for city councilor. I've got Zachary Forrest Marquardt, and I've got David Lyle. And I've had a chance to look these over. I'll give you a moment to read over them if you haven't yet.
That's you.
Yeah.
And once you've had a chance to look those over, I'll be looking for a motion to nominate one of these, and then we'll take a vote. Any questions on the applications?
No, I don't have any.
Andrew, any questions? Do I have a nomination for either Zachary Forrest or for Dave Lyle?
I make a motion for Forrest. On the council.
All right, I hear a motion for Forrest to be accepted for counselor. And so now we'll take a vote on that. Let's go one at a time so we can keep track of what the votes were. So with the motion, I'll make a second to accept Forrest as counselor position. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So let the minutes show that Forrest has been accepted as counselor. Let's move forward to the mayor position, and then we'll do our oaths of office. All right. For the mayor's position, I've got two applications here. One is for Sharon, and the other is for Mark. So I'll give you a moment to look those over.
What did they say? Where's your application?
I have two in here. Why isn't my name on there?
You never applied.
I applied twice and she had it in her hands as we talked on the phone about whether I wanted to be up for mayor or just councilor. Where's my application?
Yes, sir. The application was for that special election. When I spoke with the county
But
clerk.
I still have an application. So you go ahead and do your vote and then because I had that, I've got 2 in here that I've submitted because I knew you guys would do that. So yes, let's get this done. Awesome, this is gonna be great.
Checking with the county clerk, you are not a registered voter, so we are only accepting applications for the registered voters. So I've got 2
I am
applications
too a
in
registered voter.
for this application on the city applications that were posted outside. I've got Sharon and I also have Mark. So I'll give you a second to look those over.
Yep, that's pretty illegal, yeah.
Pretty bad, folks.
They're fucking people.
Pretty bad.
Yep, we're gonna have to do some attorney speaking. Yep. Yep.
Nice day.
All right, so when you've had a chance to look those applications over,
Shenanigans.
let me know.
Themselves out. You can have this, Michelle.
Okay.
All right, so same as the other position, I'll be looking for a motion to nominate one of these 2, and then we'll vote on that person and move forward with this. Is there a nomination at this time? I would make a motion to appoint Mark Haskett as mayor. Is there a second?
I would make a motion to put Shannon Country as mayor.
I
Okay.
second that.
So the motion is to appoint Sharon as mayor?
Yeah.
And there's a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I,
All opposed? Nay. All right, let the record show that Sharon will be the mayor going forward. Zach, would you please join us up here and I'll swear you in? May I call you Forrest?
Yes.
Good.
Congratulations.
All right, with your right hand up. I,
I,
Forrest Marquardt,
Forrest Markwart,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
and affirm that I support the Constitution
and affirm that I support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the state of Oregon
and the state of Oregon
and the city of Shaniko.
and the city of Shannon.
I will faithfully perform the duties and the offices of counselor.
I will faithfully perform the duties and offices of counselor.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have a packet for him?
I don't know.
Or
Take a look
at
over here.
least, yeah.
kind of rearranged it.
And it looks like I don't have Sharon on Zoom here, so we can swear her in when she attends. I believe we have 10 days to do that.
Okay.
All right. So since Sharon is absent, I will continue in the position of Mayor Pro Tem to run this particular meeting, and when she arrives, we'll take care of that.
Do we have a one of these? Oh,
Perhaps we can share.
yeah.
All right, so the next order of business is to reapprove the June 30 special meeting minutes with correction. And those are in the packet here. And Stacy, if you'd be so kind to share with Forrest. It looks like there was one change in the second paragraph. So we'll take that a moment to look that over.
There you go.
It's that
Perfect.
one.
Yes. Just got me to put it on papers.
And so there's just a highlighted section that's crossed out. The paragraph now reads, what happened. A motion to appoint Councilor Pam Brown as council president was made by Andrea Cagle, second by Stacy Wilson. All in favor. Motion passes. Brown will, according to charter, stand in for some mayor duties. And so I'll be looking for a motion to accept these special meeting minutes with the correction. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes to accept the special meeting minutes with correction. And now we'll move on to the July 17th regular meeting minutes. I'll give you a moment to find those in your packet. And I'll give you a moment to look those over. Once you've gotten a chance to read it, just look up and I'll know you're finished. Is there a motion to approve the July 17th regular meeting minutes?
Yeah, I motion to approve it.
Stacy motions. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? All right, let the minutes show that the July 17th regular meeting minutes with corrections are approved. Next up will be the recorder and financial report. Deb, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. It should be on your screen somewhere there where you'll be able to speak up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm not hearing you well, so we'll see.
What you got?
All right. Under my recorder's report, as I say, due to work, I cannot physically attend August 11th, but I'm here on Zoom. The budget committee and budget hearing process was successful, and all necessary messaging, work, and legal documents passed and submitted to the county so the city can legally operate and receive the state revenues and taxes it is due in less than 1 month, by the grace of the county clerk's office. The budget committee met for work July 14th, July 21st with public comment, and July 28th for a budget hearing to pass the 2025-26 budget. Citizen volunteers working with the council were Susan Patterson, Joe Walter, Dave Lyle, Mark Haskett, and Zachary Marquette. Thank you all for the new funding possibilities and projects to make the city better for visitors and citizens. The DLCD especially, and it only got better as we heard on the 28th. The grant probability is high. Number 3, 2 business license applications came in for approval. The Shaniko Preservation Guild Renewal and DNA Services LLC. I submitted them as complete for council approval. The third was returned due to it being a renewal for Cascateria and new for storage repair on the same application. Also asking for details and plot plans. Motions needed.
Would you like to pause there and talk about the 2 applications that came in for Shaniko Preservation Guild and the DNA Services, Deb?
When you have them, I don't. Oh, I do. The Shaniko or Preservation Guild's been getting one for years, and we basically do historic preservation and cataloging artifacts and that sort of thing, and fundraising activities to support the cause there. The new one is DNA Services, which is a lawn care service by Dylan and Alexander. Live there across from me on the corner. And they needed one because of their business and going into the areas that they're going into. So they wanted to be legitimate. And those are the two that I have, that you have. I don't know if you have to approve renewals or not, but you do have to approve a new business.
It's my stance that a renewal doesn't need a motion, but I wanted to look to you for.
No, it sounds like, is this the guy's first license?
This one is, yeah. But the other one for, no.
All right, so what we're hearing over here, Deb, is that the renewal doesn't need a vote, so we can go ahead and mark the Shaniko Preservation Guild as renewed without worrying about having a vote. Now we'll take a look at the A&D application and see if there's a motion on that.
Yeah, motion, that's okay.
I'd like to see it if that's okay.
Oh, shoot, here.
Sorry, I don't have a copy.
It's one of these papers.
Yeah.
I've read 'em all.
Yeah,
Yes, indeed.
there were council packets made for the two new officers. Or are they across from you?
Let me take a look. Yes,
Okay.
I do see them. Thank you for that, Deb.
So all businesses are required to pay water and garbage and the restroom fee, even if they're like, not using it.
That's a good question. That was on my mind too. Deb, did you? This might be your packet. Did you catch that, Deb?
I think it's what I wanted to address about these. There is one application for business. The problem with that is that there are 3 sets of fees that go with business. And those are in a resolution. And so that whole business application situation needs revised, because the bigger businesses like hotel and food services pay more for garbage, not necessarily water, I don't remember, but anyway, just an FYI thing that those need to be revised. And also I'd like to see more in the application where it talks about what you're doing, instead of one little 2-inch line.
Do we know if this DNA has a specific building in town? Is it a
Oh, no,
separate-
no. They do lawn care out of town. They do it up in Maupin, Pine Hollow. They're not local, but they want to have a business license. They could work in Shaniko, I guess, but they wanted to have a business license that goes with their LLC documentation. And there are people who want to see that to work for them.
What about all the other businesses in town? Does every single business pay this trash, garbage, restroom fee? Is that like
Depending if you, yeah, exactly. Depending if you have water. For instance, the guild does not have water. So the guild pays restroom fee and garbage. And then, so that has always been an interesting situation because of the differences around town. For instance, when you have a business, this is something that has precedent been set. A business who has also a resident on it, the city has always allowed for that, in that the business pays the bigger rate, whoever pays the biggest rate. There was at one time, one business wanted 2 locations, and as the office was transitioning for me, I made a resolution for the council to try to decide, and this is something we need to tackle, whether or not a business in 2 locations needed to pay 2 sets of services.
Can I,
Then you have a business, huh?
can I interject something real quick? Just to
Yeah.
make this,
Yeah.
like, before Susan and Richard lived over there, or Susan was here, Richard and Sheila both lived on the same property that the store was.
Okay.
So so instead of paying personal garbage, they paid the bigger rate, which was the business, and it all just went.
Sure. I guess what I'm worried about is I want to make sure everything's equal for everybody.
Agreed.
There
Yeah.
shouldn't be one LLC or one party that's paying one thing and not the other.
Right.
So if we're charging everybody, it should all be equalized. That would be my one thing I'd add.
Mhm. And that'd work if everybody had water, but a lot of these businesses don't. The other thing we need to consider is when there's a business license in 3 places, but 1 location, and you have that existing with Sean and Amy.
Oh, yeah.
The last year's business license had no fees on any of them. And so, if you have 1 location and 3 activities, you might say, or businesses, then the resolution needs to read what
Right.
service rates that would qualify for 1. It'd be 1 location, so you would charge 1 water, 1 garbage, and restroom fee. So this might be a good workshop task.
That sounds like a great idea.
Okay.
In the meantime, Casey, did you make a motion to
I
approve?
did make a motion.
And was there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor of approving the business license for A&D? Say aye.
I think it's DNA. So.
DNA. Aye. All opposed? So let the minutes show that that business license has been approved and that we will have a workshop that we'll schedule at the end of this meeting to visit that business water bill stipulation and work through that. All right, Deb, what else you got for us?
Oh, yeah. Okay. As to the previous appointment to the council, actions surrounding the new quorum, 1 or more than half, the newly appointed declined the president of the council position. And I remember I promised in my last report that I would give some items of information out loud.
Okay.
Okay, and so when that new quorum was when the quorum was established and Stacy was put on the council, what people don't realize is there was no conflict of interest in the motion by Andrea to nominate Pam as president, because the offer of the president of the council seat was declined.
What?
Well, I'm just chasing some nasty rumors that happened
All right.
by clarifying that.
Yeah, right.
And the president retains the right to vote as a counselor, even if you're acting as the mayor. I saw this in the past minutes where they declined to let that counselor vote. They saw that as a conflict. It's not. So just to be clear.
Also, you only recuse yourself if there's financial gain. That's
Mhm.
it. Like,
Yeah.
only time you have to recuse yourself.
Yeah.
No virtue signaling.
All right, what's next on the, what else you got for us, Deb?
Okay, under 5, I would request permission to get the assistance from Susan Patterson to assist in the rejected in lieu of audit that came with a notice from the Secretary of State in April. There was a $7,000 discrepancy found on it. The problem with this is it's got to be all corrected or the city is going to be forced to go back into an audit situation every year.
Which costs
And
money in and of itself. I
oh,
agree,
it's funny.
Deb, and I'm glad you brought that up. I would love to make a motion to have Susan Patterson participate in the correction of this in lieu of audit, which means that she would look at the reports, have access to see the financials, expenses, and income. Of course, won't have any power to write checks or to have a debit card. So with that motion to nominate Susan Patterson to help with the in lieu of audit, is there a second?
I'll
to it?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All opposed? None. All right, let the minutes show that Susan Patterson will be helping with the in lieu of audit.
Beautiful. Okay, that's all that. Recorder's report.
All right, we got the financials next, right?
Yes, and you have all those. Also, in her help to me, she'll be reassembling or adjusting however she needs to set those Excel spreadsheets up for a better way of calculating finances than the way you're getting this.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, there'll be totals and all that kind of stuff automatically in the programming. So, okay.
And Deb, it looks like we all have the financial report in front of us. Do you want to walk us through a couple of high points?
High points. The big money or the little money? Just kidding. Well, it's pretty normal transactions. I did just list you the basically the checking account version on page 1 and page 2. You see there are 2 deposits made this month.
Yep.
But on page 3, I began to categorize this in funds so that you could see, based on this checking account listing, how this money falls into funds. The general fund is always weak. It has been historically. Recently, in several months, there's been no TLT from the businesses in town.
Okay.
Water is doing well. Sanitation is doing extremely well. And a lot of that sanitation comes from the donations out of the box. It runs $400 or more a month. Now that's summer months, so that's a good place of income. There was a donation of $1,000. Where's that at? Or that was the month before. Okay, when it comes to the tourism thing, or the excuse me, I just having issues here. Let's see. So you're looking at page 3. We keep going. The main account, I dropped these in for you. Approximately the balance $8,540 and 2 deposits totaling. With the bills paid, leaves almost $11K for you to work with. I didn't see the bank statement for that. I saw the bank statement come in for the other 2. And I don't know, that one used to worry me because it seemed to be late. The water grant account balance is $52.40 was, and now we had checks made, and the balance is $9. The invoices were submitted already of the work done on the engineering side, so we're just waiting for the direct deposit to be able to pay those people. The fire staffing grant had a balance to begin with, or 30,000, statement fee, checks and payouts of 5,000 something, and the ending balance now is 25. Till your next set of checks come in.
Okay.
The last page, number 4, is the big page, is all the bills. And my recommendations that all of the necessary things that needed to be paid before the bill dates made them delinquent, and or past due ones of course, the new phone and internet. There seems to be a problem with that phone we have in there as far as trying to make it answer, collect answering, the messages.
I'll take a look at
And
that, Deb.
yeah, there's no manual to that. So, and there's a lot of buttons on it. Okay.
I'll take care of you on that.
Okay. Uh, the dues, some of the dues we paid, Mid-Columbia Economic Development District dues. That's a very, oh, and I did give a handout about what they do for us. And that's an important group to stay connected to. Box R, we still, I'm not going to say we're in trouble, but that woman has the patience of a saint to have waited a whole year for a bill that was buried and never paid. So we did the water test monthly account. I paid those. This consumer competence report fee, we needed to pay that. Now for her, it's that water test in 2024. Still, we owe $719.11, and I recommend you pay that off. The electric accounts, there are 5 of those. Of course, that's a pretty standard price tag for that. Madras Sanitary, that was a dump and a reset. So normally you will see $200 on that every month. And occasionally the $400 for dump and reset. Ace Hardware, that was due to the water leak behind the City Hall. And the postage and mailing I put out for that. League of Oregon City dues, very important group to be connected to because a lot of that information we need, no lawyer has to give us. So those people are valuable. They have great conferences and you have a notification about one that's coming up. The Pape machinery and the backhoe parts, getting that machine up and running. The CIS services was paid in full in May. The Philadelphia insurance, that's a workers' comp policy. That is paid. That was due in June. The last that you owe on the audit, and that was like an $8,500 price tag. The last installment is, that last amount owed is $670. So you can see that a lot of things are going to go away as far as our list of bills here pretty soon. The I think it's a law firm. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's an audit. Yeah, that audit balance is also has to do with workers' comp. Or no, that's the audit. Excuse me. And I said that already. Okay. Lawyer fees. Yeah, I just didn't want to go there. Keep trying to jump up off of that. Because of some of the issues that he dealt with, I recommend right now not to pay him. Okay. And whatever the result of that is. Abbas Pump, I didn't print it off the email, but we owe them $35.12.38. And that's an important one to keep whittling away at. Okay, Shaniko Days music. As I said, there's money in that account. There's money to be paying this off. But I recommended that you pay the $800 that was earned just this last week. And there again, if you it's something I still think you need to support because the money was previously there. But what I did learn that it's possible that the Shaniko Ranch donation from my very first deposit was $1,000, and it said to the general fund, and I started to question that. People don't normally donate to a general fund. And even though ours is fragile, what I did figure out was because the budget not last year, but the year before had tourism in it. Last year's, they had taken it out. And I believe the Shaniko Days, that sort of thing was hooked in with the general fund. So I have sent a letter asking the Shaniko Ranch, thanking them, but asking them, is that what they meant? If it was to the general fund because they knew that it meant it would go to the event. So they'll clarify that, and then we will basically spend it because it came in before our budget year started. So we can make that correction.
That
So
Deb Holden.
All right. I'd like to add that we also just received a $250 donation from Wasco Electric, and they did specify for the general fund. Deb, that will be showing up in the bank account. It should be tomorrow, so that can be added to next month's finances. But just wanted to let you know that's coming in.
all right, all right.
All right. So what do we need as far as motions on this, Deb?
To pay, you need a motion to accept the bills paid and to pay balances listed. According to you, you see your listing is on to the right. I put a recommendation, but you can do what you want with any of that. So you might visit about that right now.
To me, those recommendations make sense. Certainly, we want to keep Oxar happy. We're dependent on them to keep the water system up and running in a safe capacity. So I'd like to suggest taking Deb's recommendation on that. As far as the audit balance at the bottom, it always feels good to actually pay off a bill. So that would be my recommendation on that as well. I do know that Abbas Pump has an APR that we're paying. So next month we may want to look at if we can get a little bit more on that. But I do accept Deb's recommendation here. Other thoughts as you come up with them?
So we paid 4,400 for the music at Chanico Days. Is that what this is?
We have not paid anything.
Okay.
We got a donation of $500 for the band on that day that they were playing. And what was it that you earned? Vendors brought in $300. So you essentially had Shaniko Days income of $800, which is what I recommend you paying back to the music. But that is also up to you.
I just would like to know where this $4,400 mark came from. Was that the budget? Was that a contract? Was there an agreement? That's
Well,
on the balance
right.
sheet.
Some of your colleagues there know about the tourism committee and Selena, their relationship in the past putting Shaniko Days together. The hires are $400 for a duo, $1,500 for Joni Harms, and $2,500 for Countryfied. So that was the money that was put out by Selena and people she could communicate with to pay that bill this year.
So they're wanting as much as we can contribute back.
And this was on their calendar of scope of work before we got here. Except you, Andrea.
So they're wanting back as much as they could get or help with that.
Yeah, yes, because the tourism fund gets 70% of the tourist lodging tax. And we did figure out that there's about 3,000 some odd dollars that was specifically for Shaniko Days. The problem is the bank account got down to $6,000. And so the question that I still have and I'm still looking for, and Susan's eyes are going to help a whole lot, is in this indebted position of the general fund where they were putting money to all these other things, did they spend some of that money that was designated for Shaniko Days?
And here's my thought on that, Deb. What I'd like to propose is that we take a vote with the Shaniko Days music aside I'd like to make a motion that aside from Shaniko Days music, which we can talk about separately, that we pay all of Deb's recommended bills as noted in the finance report. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Alrighty.
All okay. Let's Deb, table the Shaniko Days music. I'd like to make a motion to table that bit until we hear back from Shaniko Ranch with their confirmation, and then we could take a look at
Yes.
those receipts to discuss in detail.
Yep, absolutely.
Motion
I
to
took it
table.
out. I took it out.
Second that.
So a motion by who?
A motion by Pam to table the Shaniko Days music, and there was a second by Forrest. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? All right.
Okay, and then the motion then to accept bills paid and pay balances listed is by who?
Initial motion was by Pam.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna, okay, and then without Shaniko Days. There we go.
And
All in
then
favor.
if that gets us in order, Deb, we got half of the agenda left, so I'd like to move forward unless there's anything pertinent that needs to be touched on.
No, I'm done.
All right, let's hear. We've got water report up next. So as you all hopefully have seen, there is a boil water notice that has been posted as of the 9th, and we're expecting to hopefully be lifted on Friday. We're working hard to coordinate the system. Mark, do you want to speak to that a little bit? You did a lot of work as far as the water system was concerned.
No, I think you said it covered there.
Who's Margie?
Mark's a
The-
fire chief.
Yeah, Mark.
The yeah, so we went down to the system. We noticed that the chlorinator was completely dry. So we filled that up and we put some proper chlorination levels in, and we have been flushing the system to pull that chlorine up to the north side of town. We will continue to retest, and then as soon as it is safe to do so, we will lift that boil water notice and keep you informed. There is water available for pickup here in the city front office.
Who donated that?
Mark called Sheridan, the Wasco County Emergency Management Services head, and Sheridan then called the Columbia Gorge Food Bank, and so
They were quick about that.
they came quickly and they donated.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. We, as far as the water levels are concerned, we have been testing daily to take a look at what impact having an event leads, what the refill level is. We've seen about an average of 6-9 or so. We've been blowing off, like I said, the pumps around town, and each time we blow off to pull the chlorine up, we lose about 3 inches. We replenish about 1 overnight. So right now we're sitting at about 5-8 as of this afternoon, and again, that depletion had a lot to do with pulling that chlorine through the system. So we expect that to be replenished, and since we're keeping an eye on it daily, if there is an issue, we won't have to wait till a city council meeting to let people know. But as of right now, fine to keep watering your lawns. Especially if you live on the north side of town, if you want to run your faucet for a bit, that will help pull the chlorination up to solve our issue. Any questions on the water report? Moving forward to the water grant report. As Deb mentioned, we have put in the invoices for the work already done into the block grant to get the payment in. As soon as we get the payment in for those invoices, it will be paid to Kieran McLeod and McEd for the work that they have already done. They are continuing to submit bills. Right now, we're getting that payment by check in the mail. There's usually a 6 to 8 week waiting period as the government processes, gets it in the mail. We are working on an ACH signature, so what that will mean is the next time we request money for these invoices, it will be dropped right into the bank account, which still might take a little bit of time, but will be a little quicker. We won't have to wait on a large check in the mail. So with the water grant, we're still in the planning phase. We talked about what the plan was in regards to building a new reservoir, a secondary reservoir up in town, and creating a redundancy in the system. So if something were to happen at the Pine Hollow Reservoir, we would still have a reserve of about 4 to 5 days of water up here in town, so we can run maintenance or take care of anything that needs to be taken care of down there. So with this, I am just keeping an eye on the budget that is proposed for this. It was 126,000 with I think it was 3,000 designated for administrative fees, and then a fee for Ed as well, for Kira McLeod. So we're just keeping an eye on those budgets to make sure that we're all in line with that. And I've got a meeting with them coming up next week for another update. So I'll have more for you soon.
Cool. Thanks.
Any updates on the water grant itself? All right, let's keep on trucking. We've got the fire report up next, and Mark, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, we've got the cleanup continues in the hall. I don't know, Deb, why she didn't mention the $429 that the fire hall breakfast made. I don't know what fund that went into. Brush rig is still missing, radio's still missing. The water depots, we are at 7 of them. We're just deploying 2 more. One at the dumpster and one across from the general store. I want to thank Jacob Miller for doing such a great job cleaning them out. Also like to thank Lyle Johnson for cutting a fire line on E Street with his blade. 3 of our 6 blowouts are still non-operational. Fire department has a plan to get 5 of the 6 operational. The one at Stacy's house on the gate valve, I'll kind of throw that to Stacy. I don't know what to do with it. Maybe if you could look into it.
Yeah, I'd love to. I was
Yeah.
told not to, so decided I will.
Yeah, you're my boss on that
You're
one.
gonna dig it up, Stacy?
What's that?
It's got
Third deal there?
you need to
What?
Well,
Third deal there?
No.
And all medical supplies have been moved upstairs to the upstairs the old city hall building. So that's the EMT EMR spot.
Sounds good. As Mark Haskett was originally appointed as interim fire chief, pending review, it's been more than 30 days. So I wanted to talk about a position to appoint Mark for 12 months, where then we would revisit with an assessment. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think he's doing an excellent job. All the volunteers that are willing to work for him. I think it's a real positive thing for this town, so.
I agree.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Motion to appoint Mark as fire chief for 12 months, and then we'll review at that time.
I'll second.
And there's a second by Andrea. So original motion was by Forrest, seconded by Andrea. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? All right. Let the minute show that the motion to appoint Mark as fire chief has passed unanimously.
Sweet.
Okay. And now we're on to the fire grant report. Deb spoke to that a little bit before as far as remaining funds, and we've got 11 people that we are paying out for being on call, and those checks are just cut every 2 weeks. So we will continue to report as there are updates there. And as Mark alluded to, a lot of the work that's being done while on call includes Red Flag Day awareness, keeping an eye on the weather, of course, cleaning up the fire hall, testing vehicles, making sure that we are aware of our surroundings, and informing residents of any upcoming danger, as with the Cram Fire, for example. All right, and then next on, any questions about that? Next on the agenda is older fire vehicles as projects.
What does that mean?
Deb, do you want to speak to that? Was that you who added?
I added it to.
Oh. Perfect. Would you, Stacy, would you tell us a little bit about that?
It was just about all the old vehicles that are sitting around, and if we can put them up for auction or rebuild them, or if it can be done to any of them. It's certainly money that would help the city out. Just to let them rot into the ground isn't the
Right.
way to go, I would think.
Does somebody, would you want to look into or investigate what would be the best thing for each one, and then bring it
Yeah,
back?
I found out that the fire truck just needs a battery, and and Jesse has volunteered to work on it, so, and he's kind of skilled in that
Yeah.
field, so. And I don't know what's the deal with the 2 fire trucks down here and
We should wander down there and look
They're
at them.
pretty much stripped. There's nothing
they?
on them. The 2 green ones
Yeah.
down there, there's
Yeah.
nothing left of them. They're just rolling carcasses at this point.
Are they neat looking? I mean,
they kind of are.
could we put them somewhere decorative? I don't know. They're not
I
historical.
think
so-
I'd lean a little more towards getting rid of them.
Yeah,
Taking
yeah.
that money and getting one brush rig that actually runs. That seems like a good call.
Yeah, I was wondering also if there needs to be like everybody gets a chance to put in their vote on if they're gonna buy it or something, or just taking one person and saying, okay, we'll sell it to you for this much, but everybody's,
Right.
It should be an open process.
yeah, it should
Yeah.
be open.
So maybe we start with getting it fixed, and then we visit that conversation once they will be ready to sell or
Yeah.
to donate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's titles for all the rigs over there or they're at the school, but.
We
there's
will
an
have to take a
ambulance
look.
and- Yeah, and there's another white dump truck over there.
Yeah, would you mind looking into that and about what each one would need, and then we could talk about a plan
Sure,
for approaching that
yeah.
next
I'll
time?
look into
Put
it.
that on the agenda for next one.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know if I can help.
The anything else on that before I move on?
No, that was pretty much it, but that would help clean up our transfer station too. a little bit,
Yeah.
so.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the next agenda item, which is the transfer station compliance and procedures. We've been working with DEQ, who's come in and they give us the permit in order to actually have Madras sanitation put and keep the dumpster at the site for use. And so in May, when I was digging through some emails, I found in the recorder email there was a compliance violation that was overdue. So we talked with DEQ, had them come out, and they had a list of items to address a couple things. You're not allowed to burn anything down there. We need a water source in the case of dumpster fire. We've got a limited, we shouldn't be dumping appliances down there. We don't want scrap metal down there. And then we also don't want any sort of mystery 55-gallon
Drums.
drums down there. So the last bit for that is that I've been speaking with the gentleman who came up to visit and inspect. He was pleased with the progress we'd made. The one remaining item we need to take care of is getting rid of those paint cans. And so I'm talking with the Dows. They've got a household waste drop off, and they accept paint. So I'm gonna speak with them about getting what it would look like to get those up there and see if that's
Are they
a solution.
5 gallon or 1 gallon?
For the Dows,
I mean, what we have up there.
There's 50 gallons.
55-gallon drums.
That's a lot. Okay, I
They're
was
not
gonna say.
full, but we do need to look at how to transport
What
them.
I've heard about the small paint cans is that if you leave them open and let them dry,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot more than I thought.
Well, we're at the home stretch here, so hopefully within the next week we'll get that taken care of, and then get the okay to, of course, keep the transfer station and the license going with that.
Are those water tanks a problem or? Oh,
He seems like, his name is Justin. He said as long as we get the drums out of the way, that everything else is mild enough where we are okay to move forward.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on the transfer site? And we should have an update on that soon. Moving forward, I wrote an agenda item in regards to discussing the selling of the city property south of Highway 97. We do have a piece of land up there. This would be something that if we decided to put it on the market, as we've discussed, it would be an open listing where folks could. I didn't make copies, but it's just up here.
Oh yeah.
Where people could, we could get an assessed value, list it, see what offers come in, and create an offer date, so that way we're not accepting necessarily the first offer. I would look into that process if we indeed decide that it's worth discussing the selling of. As Deb mentioned earlier, we've got a shortage in the general fund, and this might be a way to boost some funds and pay off some of these outstanding bills.
Yeah. Is that the only property that we have that we could?
I want to start there. A lot of the other properties that we own, we have potential to utilize, and we've got buildings on them. So I want to start with one, see how that goes, and then explore anything else that may or may not need discussed.
And part of the the land use planning for the state side, there's actually a rule called Goal 10 planning, which requires municipalities every 12 months to actually inventory all of their property that's not being used. So like for instance, City Hall here, obviously that's in use. A vacant lot, that's not in use. And so that's part of trying to combat the affordable housing crisis. So we should be doing that every year anyway. So I definitely agree that we should put it up for sale.
Is that a motion?
I'll motion for that.
All right, so I hear a motion to list for sale the city property at the south of 97. I should get a tax lot number.
I can find it for you if you want.
Sure. We can find it and then we'll send it to Deb just for clarity, but as the picture shows, this is the piece of land we're talking about. So we've got the motion to list for sale. We've got a second. All in favor of starting the process of listing this for sale, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? All right, let the minutes show that the Shaniko Council will look into the process of listing this 0.23 acres of Shaniko's property south of 97 for sale. So keep an eye out on that. We're not going to list it yet, but we'll look at the process and I'll come back to the table.
Got a tax lot number if you want.
I'm ready.
6S as in Sam, 16E as in Echo, 36D as in Delta, B as in Bravo, 2000.
Thank you.
And it is 100 by 100 feet.
Very good. Okay. Next up, we've got workshop agenda and schedule. And then a couple items that we could speak about would be the backhoe rental agreement, the rules and procedures for LOC, open house ideas, and whatnot. It says one set day each month and each time. I'd like to come back to that if you don't mind, if we skip to 16 and then circle back to the workshop. Is there any opposition to skipping forward and then returning to that line 15 item? All right. So I wanted to start, I put the conditional land use procedure as a discussion item on here. The semi-tractor trailers that are on the piece of land that is north of 97 have been a discussion point. And so I wanted to talk about the conditional land use procedure for going forward and open up for discussion for what's going on and what we can do to mitigate any safety issues with the semi-trailers as they are.
I'm sorry. Are we
Dave Lyle's semi-tractor trailers.
Oh, right,
I wanted
right.
to talk about that.
okay. Yeah, I absolutely would love to hear, more detail on what the plan is. The problem is you can't see around the corner. Susan, when she tries to cross the road, I know that when I try to cross the road, it's hard. And also when you go the other way toward Dawn's house, you can't see right there. So maybe we could make some adjustments there. As far as I know, obviously they're going to be lowered, which will make visibility better. But that's all I have.
Are they partially on the city property? That's what I was wondering. If they need to be moved back to his property.
I don't think they are. They might be close.
Obviously.
As far as like a setback situation.
I think the first question is, was there a land use application to begin with? That's something that everybody should have to go through the same process, so it's a uniform thing. It seems to me like it's a conditional use thing. There's a couple of weird oddities here. I did notice that within our zoning ordinance here, this 6-78-B that is over 50 years old, there seems to be 3 to 4 different zoning maps. I don't know which is which. It references Appendix A or Appendix 1. I don't know which one is correct, if it has been modified. So it's hard to tell. Some people seem to think it's in some kind of historical district. I actually checked with the Historical Society, and it was not. Actually have the documentation if you guys want to see that. I think it's just zone commercial, but definitely need to have land use approval. And it seems like whatever the plan is there, we should definitely have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, I know there was, discussion about getting, like a forced, speed restriction, get people to slow down around that corner. And I would love to see that, but we have to, it's important that that happen before we're restricted.
When I was looking at we'll look into the historic district a little bit more. When I was looking at the stipulations for land use for commercial, whether it be historic or not, there is a requirement for a 10-foot setback from the front line and then from the sidelines if you're a corner lot. So let me start here because I'd like to work to get into compliance rather than putting a blockade. That said, let me start by just to see if we all agree that I make a motion that the council recognizes that there's a safety issue with the configuration as it stands right now.
Yeah.
And so there's a second.
Yes.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So starting point is right now as it sits, there is a safety issue. What I wanted to talk about, because I want to give enough time to this very important topic, would be scheduling a week from today, Monday at 6 p.m., a special conditional use hearing where we can work with Dave Lyle, let him know what we need from him for as far as what the business plan is, as far as the plot plan for where these semis are going to go, and then we can assess once we exchange some information to make sure that the safety isn't an issue, and then of course that the land is being used properly. So
yeah, I think it's a good idea, and then he'll kind of be able to explain what his
The
vision
proposal.
is. Yeah.
I do believe this ordinance specifies 10 days notice is mandatory. So
Okay.
you might want to give it 2 weeks.
okay.
Okay.
Should we have ODOT come in to help, or?
No, I think it's a municipal matter. In my opinion.
You mean the speed limit?
That's a whole
Just a view
separate
of
thing.
seeing.
Okay.
I think once
Oh,
you start getting
Corner.
other jurisdictions and it's just
let's see if we,
things start to get
let's see if we can
all
handle
over
it
the place.
in house.
So I appreciate that you mentioned 10 days, and I would like to have a longer conversation about this, especially as it gets later into the evening. But 2 weeks from today is Monday, the
22nd. Wait.
Monday the 25th.
25th,
So I make a motion that we held a conditional land use hearing on Monday the 25th at 6 p.m. to chat with Dave Lyle, see what his proposal is, give him time to get his things together to share with us, and then we can have a long form conversation about making sure that we are in compliance, making sure that we're helping him get set up, that it's not affecting the residential neighbors around. We're taking special into consideration what the actual land use says as far as stipulations are concerned.
Sounds great.
That was a long motion. I motioned to meet on Monday in 2 weeks to talk about
I'll
this.
second it.
Second by Stacy. All in favor?
I
All opposed? All right. So we will have a meeting in 2 weeks, and hence why I wanted to jump to item 16 on the agenda since we had 15 as a workshop. There certainly are many things we need to talk about. I know that there are some competing priorities in town, so I'm hesitant to schedule a workshop when we have other meetings too. But maybe we can.
Can we do a 2-topic workshop? Can we do that?
Well,
We-
I think the one that we're talking about would be the special meeting hearing, and the workshop would be a separate
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
thing. But I do want to talk about the backhoe agreement and the rules. I think some of this, as we've got the LOC training coming up on Wednesday, if any of us are going, I think that will help clarify a couple of these things about home rule versus where does ODOT play in, home rule, how does Wasco County play in, and then stipulations for public meeting compliance. It'll be a good learning experience. So once we go to this workshop on Wednesday that's hosted by League of Oregon Cities, I think we'll have a lot more insight into how to
Okay.
work together.
I asked you about what organization we're with, and you said just put the City of Shaniko. Well, I filled out the whole thing, and at the bottom it said just don't put the city of whatever. So
Did
didn't
I
know.
need to do that?
We'll chat later about
Okay,
that.
Sorry.
But yeah, that was my last big thing, and then now we will. Anything else to add from the council before I go to public comment?
Gosh, no.
All right, we've got Joe sitting here. We'll start with Joe, and then we'll jump over to Zoom.
No comment, everything's looking good with you guys.
Perfect. Dave Lyle, would you like to speak? I've just unmuted you if you'd like to. All right. I'm going to move on. Dave, I'll come back to you in the case that you would like to speak. Deb, you're a recorder, so I'm going to skip over to Sandy Serengino. Would you like to speak?
We sure the volume's working?
Volume's up.
She usually at least says no.
Right. Got the ask to unmute going. Bear with me. Participants.
Would you like to hear from me?
I would love to hear from you, yes, sir.
I appreciate you considering my property, and I think there's a lot of mean, vicious people in this world that need to calm their jets down until we actually get something built. I believe that I've, waited this out more than 5 years. So I don't think I should face a lot of challenges. For safety, I think we should move things around, but a forklift's coming in September. So that's kind of my time frame. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks, Dave. And Sandy, I'm going to give you a moment to unmute if you would like to speak. Okay. Anything to add before we close up? All right, I call this meeting adjourned at 7:10 p.m. on August 11. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Raw.